Hi everyone, welcome back to the RPMbassy with John and Mark. We're counting down our top 20 vinyl records of all time. We are currently on number 3, and I'm going to be starting this one off. So, this is my first repeat artist. I tried. I was so sure that I wasn't going to have any artist get more than one album on the list, but I had to bring this one in. So this is Periphery again. This is Periphery 4 Hail Stan. It's not a typo. It is Hail Stan, not Hail Satan. Did that on purpose. As I said, they are quite a silly band.
Love it.
So, kind of similar to Periphery 3. This one's a little bit more thought out, less spontaneous. And this album is another one of those ones where they've gone back and they've taken stuff from a long, long time ago, taken songs from previous projects that they work on, like different, essentially different bands, and kind of compiled it to make one cohesive album. Really, really... standout track on this is Reptile, the intro track, 17 and a half minutes long.
Wow.
And when I first heard that there was a 17-minute long track, I was like, nah, fuck that, I'm not listening to that.
What other tracks are really long? I think I had a couple that were really long.
I mean, any progressive artist, a lot of progressive rock and stuff like that, like Tool especially, they've got stuff in the 10s to 15s. I think even some 20-minute songs here.
Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, wasn't that a long track, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is a long track. So yeah, generally anything over 7 minutes, that's kind of where I start to go oh, come on.
Yeah.
You can't say anything more. You've had your fill.
Yeah.
Just make a separate song. But actually, you know what? All those 17 minutes, they are really, really good. It's got a orchestral intro and definitely some silliness vocally or lyrically. It's all about this guy called Billy, who likes to get high and he sees aliens and stuff like that. Absolutely nuts. It's completely bonkers lyrically. But the actual track itself, just sit back and don't necessarily focus on what the lyrics actually mean. Really, really good. And it's a really, really fun song to play on guitar as well. Tuning wise, the whole album's over the place. That song, it's taking everything down to what would be D standard in terms of 6-string tuning, then taking that D, that low D string, and then going all the way down to G. So you've got G and then another G, and that's a fun guitar line throughout the whole song. I mean, there's that many different riffs and stuff. It could be separate tracks, but they're all really, really good at leading into one another. Other tracks on here, you've got stuff like Crush, which is it's almost electronic-y, dubstep-y kind of. It's a bit weird. That almost doesn't fit in the album, but because it's towards the end, it's a really nice palate cleanser. So you kind of have the really heavy intro part of the album, then you get into sort of more lyrically mature kind of stuff. Garden in the Bones and It's Only Smiles, they're really, really good tracks for some poignant lyricism. And then the final two tracks, Sentient Glow and Satellites. Sentient Glow is a track that was initially released by two of the members in the band, Misha and Marc, when they ran a project called Haunted Shores. They still do that project, but the nature of the project has changed now, and it's kind of a different genre. But they repurposed it, made it into a Periphery song instead. And that's super, super triumphant. I imagine that would be a really good gym song. Not that I'd know, but I reckon it would be a good gym song if I went to the gym.
If I went to the gym, yeah. I've got loads of them gym songs.
And then Satellites, the final track. Possibly the best song they've ever done.
Okay.
So Mark Holcomb, who is one of the 3 guitarists, this is kind of all initially based off of a guitar sort of passage that he wrote. He's released a new delay pedal, it was a delay pedal signature. And just in the video where he was demoing it, there was just this guitar passage, and they took that passage, put it on that song, and it's unreal. It's not overly complex, but really, really, really cool. I imagine it's the kind of thing that if you put it on acoustic, it would sit right at home. But with all the guitars, all the layers, and the delay pedal and stuff like that, fantastic. And that's another one like the Periphery 3 final track, really ballady, very emotional. Lots of like string layers and stuff like that as well. Fantastic way to like start and end the album, and I think that's something that Periphery on the whole do really, really well. They've always got a really amazing way to pick you up at the start of the album and then kind of bring it all back down at the end. That's my pick. Periphery for Hail Stan.
So my number 3 is, there's a lot of information to go with this as well, and this connects kind of 3 of the artists in my list. And the album I've chose for number 3 is Bow Wow Wow, and it's the See Jungle, Go Join Your Gang, yeah, City All Over, Go Crazy. That is actually the album title. I think it's the longest title I think we've ever heard for an album at all. So Bow Wow Wow, there's a connection between Bow Wow Wow and Culture Club. Basically, Boy George was the singer in Bow Wow Wow for one gig, and also the band from Bow Wow Wow were the original Adam and the Ants, which we're going to talk about soon. Hint, hint. So I was really into this band because obviously I was a huge Adam and the Ants fan, and obviously they left and became Bow Wow Wow. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Their big track was Go Wild in the Country. A little story about that is I was 11 when that came out, and I remember bouncing around my room wrapped in a white sheet to that song, and I didn't notice my father was standing at the door watching me, and he slowly closed the door on me to that song. I've always been a massive fan, and obviously everyone knows the big track I Want Candy. That wasn't on this album because they were originally on EMI. They released a thing called My Cassette Pet, which just came out in a cassette, and they had the singles like C30, C60, C90 Go, which is all about taping, all of that. And I think EMI had an issue with it because they wanted people to tape they wanted piracy. That's what they were all about. And obviously they had the Vivienne Westwood collection, the Pirate collection as well. They then signed to RCA, and in October 1981 they released this album. Again, the longest title. They were managed by Malcolm McLaren, so you can see where all this kind of branding stuff was all coming from. All the hype was being created by Malcolm McLaren. They had this artwork done. Now, Annabella Lewin, which is the lead singer, she was only 14 at the time of getting this taken, and initiate a Scotland Yard investigation. So they stopped selling this, and they redid the sleeve to look like this, which I think was a shot from one of the videos, I think for Sinner. That's what they used for this here. Again, you've got the title on there. So this is what I got to know it as, and later on I kind of found this one here, which you can get now. I don't think anyone's bothered about it now. Yeah, so when this album came out, the controversy with Annabella Lewin, a couple of tracks on here that you may have heard. God, you think things like Jungle Boy Chihuahua, Sinner. So you can see there's that theme going on here, and it's all very kind of Burundi beat, because obviously the original Ants from Adam and the Ants, using that Burundi beat, they kind of created this sound with Bow Wow Wow, and obviously the newer incarnation of Adam and the Ants went all Burundi beat as well. So there was so you can see Malcolm McLaren was responsible for both of these. They released another album with RCA after this, and obviously they had the big hit with I Want Candy. They've toured with like Madness in America. They were quite big in America, Bow Wow Wow, but they did a major tour with Madness, the Police, and the Pretenders as well. So there were support acts with these bands. So I absolutely love this record, man. I'm a huge fan of this. I love the clothes they wore, their music. They released I Want Candy, which was like huge, and then they released a second album on RCA, where the going gets tough, the tough get going. You know, I hate that title. I even hate that original the song, but it was a great album. A couple of good singles on it. They'd kind of really tuned their production and their kind of writing skills. On here, on this album, it's a bit naive, but it works. The drumming from Dave Barbarossa is just insane. You've got Lee Gorman on bass, which is like, it does a lot of that slap bass, it's crazy. And then you've got Matthew Ashman on guitar. I mean, that combination, them three there, is just insane. Especially if you ever heard Adam and the Ants' first album, Dirk Wears White Socks, where it was that band and Adam Ant. Malcolm McLaren then sacked Adam Ant from his own band. They then became Bow Wow Wow. Annabella Lewin is lead singer. Boy George for like one concert, done. So I kind of like that cross, kind of one big family really. And I've since worked with Dave Barbarossa, and he's a really nice guy and an amazing drummer, and we've used him a few times. But that is my number 3. Bow Wow Wow. See Jungle, Go Join Your Gang, yes, City All Over, Go Crazy. Otherwise known as See Jungle. Brilliant. See you in the next video.